have a focused session now about cybersecurity begins with you, a journey to executive leadership. We have a session prepared from Jeff Rich, and I'll leave the stage to you.
Well, thank you very much, Francesca and Philippa. It's a pleasure to be here. I was real excited when I was asked to join and give this presentation for a couple of reasons. One, I think it's important, especially for those that are earlier in their career, they're rising stars, and I know that's many, if not most of you here. So we're going to talk about that. But the other reason I was real excited about doing this is it forced me to look back at the journey of my career and to see what it really meant. And of course, after I did that, I realized I may or may not be the right person to do this for you, because I kind of have I don't have a straightforward linear career, and you'll see what happens with that. As we go through this, I want to make sure that as you have questions, let us know, because a question may not make sense later on. And I want to make sure I get to it while it's still fresh in your mind. For those of you that are here live and not watching the recording yet, if you're wondering what that is behind me, today, June 28th, is National Paul Bunyan Day in the U.S. Paul Bunyan is a legendary, huge lumberjack with his ox Blue, and that's why that's the background today. I always have a different background for whatever the day is. So let's get into it. Let's talk a bit about me first. And as I said, after I took a look at my history, a lot of things kind of just fell apart. So I'm getting in and show you what that means. Because if you look at my career journey, now I'm talking about my career journey, not my jobs. I started off with a degree in science, physics, in astrophysics as a focus, and I taught in a planetarium. So now you've met someone that has. Most people have never met someone that, unless they went to a planetarium and talked to the person behind the projector. The projector is typically called a Spitz projector. That's the brand name. And I enjoyed doing that. And I transitioned from that into security and police work, which made perfect sense to me at the time. This is when a lot of people say, how did your career get derailed or off track? This made perfect sense to me because I was always dealing with people. And to me, security and law enforcement is dealing with people as well. Now, there's the issue of knowing your job, knowing what the laws are, dealing with some people that may not want to deal with you. I get that part of it. And for a couple of reasons, I ended up being convinced to take my background in science and dealing with computers. Now, this was in the 70s, so computers were large and basic at the time. And I was convinced to convert that into my new career in computer security, as it was called in the 70s. And then before long, I was offered a management position. And I'm going to do a quick story on how I got that management position. I was working at an oil company, and you'll see who it is in a second. And the director to whom I reported said, this team is growing a bit, so I think we need a manager for it. And he told me, I want you to interview all the candidates that I bring in and tell me which ones you think are best suited for it, which I thought was strange, but did it anyways. And every candidate that he put in front of me, to me, it wasn't the right fit. Either they knew nothing about security, or what they knew about security may have worked, but they clearly demonstrated they weren't going to be an effective leader. So I was upset and went to the director and I said, I'm pretty tired of this. Every candidate you put in front of me is terrible. So he said, well, if you know so much about it, why don't you do it? And I remember hearing myself say, sure, I'll do that. And then regretting it immediately, but actually it was a really good move. So that was my opportunity to get into management, and it worked for me. The field was then renamed to data security, and then it was renamed to information security. And then I got offers for positions in senior management, which I took. And then the field was renamed risk management, and then cybersecurity. And we're getting pretty close to current time where I was offered executive management positions, and now it's simply called cyber. All the same thing, from computer security up to cyber. Everyone that believes cyber is new, and no, it's all the same thing. They're all pretty good definitions, although as we get near the end, sometimes a lot of people have difficulty understanding what cyber is. And as a result, when you ask someone what cyber is, almost every person will give you a different definition. And I think we had to reach that level of abstraction for this to really work. And that's where we